All right, so almost May. These things are getting ready to be put out. So I'm going to give a little show. I cleaned up a bit on what we got going on. All right, so for this rack, I am ready to start bringing this stuff outside. Hopefully, the next video, I start moving them out. If not, in a week, I'd say sometime after a week, these will all go outside. I might move a couple of these ones into a couple of the biggest ones into their own little pots for now and put them in the tent. And a couple other things I did. I got all my new little proppies coming. I got a couple new ones, a couple old ones. This new tray, that I made a while ago, is starting to look pretty cool. Things are starting to grow in here. And then I made a new prop tray, which is only going to be the mother of millions. Because I have so many of these little things. And everything needs a good watering. But I'll be helping these out by putting them in a little bit nicer. But they're so prolific that even just throwing them on there will probably work. But I'll give them a little bit better of a chance by like poking holes and then putting them in by the root a little bit. I usually got a little wooden stick that helps me out. Little skewer. And then I'll help by putting the roots down in with it facing up. Hopefully give it a little bit better of a chance. These growing good. After beheading a couple of them, they're starting to split into 2 or 3. I got even some others coming up out of the base. These are starting to really take off. And a lot of these other ones are starting to flower, which is really cool. Little babies coming up out of them too. Yeah, so we're going to give a good water into those, all the peppers and everything, all the vegetables. And so I split up the snake plant, gave one to my mom, and I'm hoping that these ones will fill in. There was already like a root with a new prop coming up out of it. I cleaned up my mess of a tomato area situation here. And I got as many clones off of these as I can. Some of them are looking a little hurting, but they're doing okay. I got some in dirt. Starting to get them ready to go outside, hopefully within a week or so. Like I said, just an experiment. These are all clones from a cherry tomato plant from last year. I put some more basil in here. Trying to get some more basil to come out. And these prop trays. Been going for a while. I got some new ones, some other millions that just happened to fall in here. That just started growing. This one's been going on for a while. It's doing great. Another mother millions that just happened to fall in here, and it's huge. I'm going to have to split these up, especially now that this one's starting to pop some babies out. I don't want to get too bunched up. And this tray, I have pictures of when I first started. It was just a couple props from this type here. I had it all lined out. Now it's huge. A couple of the miscellaneous little props I got going in here. Mother of Millions again. So I think the Mother of Millions tray just by itself will be very cool. It'll look something more like this. Just a bunch of Mother of Millions coming up out of it. Oh, and look, got some other pieces coming up out of it. From the Wandering Jew plant. I love this plant. It grows very well. Science experiment here. Yeah, so we'll check up on peppers and eggplants and tomatoes and see how they're doing. Alright, so this is the miscellaneous pepper tray and spice and basil tray. Some of the basil are coming up. I had reseeded some of these basils and parsley, cilantro. The oregano's actually got some little sprouts coming up. So everything that was kind of making it before is still making it now. But I've cleared some room up and got a new little heating mat, because I can't keep this rack on the heating mat right now. It would kill all these plants. It's too hot. But I'm going to move some of the basil seedlings, maybe even toss in another seed just in case, to try to help the incubation of these. Not the larger ones, but some of the small ones and the other cells aren't moving. I'll move those to the heating mat. Kind of try to just hopefully speed up and get these basil to pop. I really want a silly amount of basil this year, so we'll see. But definitely have plenty. They're doing good. All right, the leeking flower tray. So the sunflowers are still doing pretty good. Some pieces I'll trim off, but you know, one of the new seeds that I started didn't make it, but I do have one that's doing okay. Starting up a late starter, and all the ones that weren't doing great in the previous video, are coming back. Even the one that I thought for sure was dead is actually starting to grow back. I've trimmed off some pieces here and there. I'm going to do a little pruning of all these dead leaves off. But I've started some leek in the garden too. They're not doing this yet, because I only started them like a couple weeks ago. So, and this is pretty good. I'm not 100% on how all these things will transplant, but I'm hoping that when they transplant out, they do pretty well. These cleomes are doing amazing. Some of them are doubled up in the cell. I didn't split them yet. I figured just when I go put them in the ground, when I take them out of the cell, if they happen to come apart, I will. I don't know if flowers, I figured they could be stacked a little closer. But marigolds, I moved a piece over to the other heating mat that is currently on. And I'm also going to try to do a lot of sowing seeds of marigolds in the garden, in ground. When it comes time, hopefully in another week or two, I'll get everything else outside. Looking good. All right, and this is my Scotch bonnets up front, my Santakas in the middle, and my Thai hots in the back, which might be hard to differentiate what I got going on right now, but they're all doing great. So there is some of them that are starting to produce little peppers. I've already headed some last week. So with these little peppers, I've been pinching them off here and there. But on a plant, this one I'm going to probably leave. But on a plant like this, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to behead it. Something like that. Maybe a little bit more. There's a lot of peppers coming up out of there, and I'm hoping that chopping down a little bit of the top, it might bifurcate and kind of create two harder stems, be a little bit more bushy. Hopefully produce some more solid pepper growth later on. So I'm hoping that will help kind of get that going, become a more bushier of a plant. There are some that are already growing in a real hard split, but I will continue to prune them as I see fit. Like I said, the long, straight, hard stems that haven't split into two, I'm going to be topping and pulling out a good chunk and hoping that it splits. So these peppers are doing amazing. So all the tomatoes are looking bigger than ever. looking very good and healthy. Very promising. Hoping to get some good tomatoes today. Getting so good that roots coming out the bottom of these cells. So getting very close. I need to get these things out of here. They're drinking up all the water every day. Not realistic that I have room to put them in anything bigger for the next week or so. So I'm really hoping that the forecast is heating up. These are ready to go. Might be able to move some into bigger cells here and put them in the tent, but not all of them. So just hoping that these can hold it out, stay healthy, and transplant well. But they're big. My beautiful eggplants. Oh, a couple of these ones, I have real strong feeling that they're gonna be awesome. We're gonna get some big ones. So yeah, they're doing really good. A couple ones a little behind the ones I started a little later, just to fill in some holes. But hopefully, once they get outside in some nice big strong sun, they'll boom. But yeah, there's a couple definite champions in here. This whole tray is just eggplant, one type. Yeah, no, I'm really glad. Really glad they're doing good. And they're in the largest cells, so I think they can hold out a little bit in here. I had real good luck last year with using the larger cells. Them growing pretty full and then doing okay in a transplant. The smaller cells I haven't really tried before. I know I can get more numbers out of them, but they're quickly outgrowing it, especially with how early I started them. Eggplant's doing great. Alright, this is the watermelon and white night eggplant, which I got a couple looking really nice. These were a later start as well, which a couple of them are looking really nice. I did pull one of the watermelon seeds I started a little later out. It wasn't doing too great. This little watermelon's doing okay. I was getting blocked out by the sun from all these big eggplant leaves, but watermelon, which I've never grown before, is looking okay. Hoping they don't get any powdery mildew. I don't think they would this young, because I don't want it to ruin anything else I'm doing here. But, well, yeah, white eggplants are looking good. Looking forward to a little variety in eggplant. Try them out, something new. Alright, and this is the Jalafuego and Serrano tray. And one of the Serranos, probably one of the best ones I'm growing. This is what I was talking about. I've been picking these peppers off here and there, but it's got a real strong split. And that's what I'm hoping will create a much more yielding plant and bushier plant. I had beheaded a couple others last week that were just some straight shooting ones to see if that'll help promote a good Y split. And this one, a little stubbier and splitting real nice. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I'll just keep picking little peppers off as I go to hopefully promote later bigger pepper growth down the line. But yeah, some of these are getting real big. This Serrano back here is going to be a real good one. I'm thinking today I'm going to move him out because he's hitting the light in here. Same with another one in here. So there's a couple I think I'm going to move to a bigger pot right now, just for the interim till they go outside. But yeah, real promising peppers here. And so this is what I was talking about, just with removing one of my biggest peppers in there that was starting to hit the light. Starting to get root bound. It's not going into something much bigger, but something just that I can easily move it in and out of when it goes into the ground. And just get it into the tent. I'll get it into the tent so it's got plenty of room to grow. I have this on 16 hours of light. So it will hopefully really boom in here. Getting all the sun it wants, all the water it wants. And so that way it just doesn't become super root bound and do poorly in the cell that it was in. And just damage from back and forth under the lights and the other one. So get this more soil filled in here, and we'll get this into the tent. All right, and last but not least is the ghost pepper and cayenne. Ghost peppers, the little shorties up front, still looking very healthy. I just think they might be just more of a bushier, not as fast grown as the cayenne. Cayennes are doing amazing. Just like the other ones that I transplanted, I'm going to transplant a few of these ones as well, just to get them into the tent where there's more sun and just more room to grow into a bigger cell just next week or so. And these ones are all doing that split that I wanted, even more so, some into 3 or 4. This one especially, it's splitting so much. It's splitting and then splitting again. There's 2, it's split into 2, and then it's already starting to split into 2 off of the others. So these are the ones that I think are doing great. As I said, I just keep pulling off these little pepper pieces here as I see them. So they're looking awesome. They can't fit under the grow light anymore, so I'm going to move them to the tent. But real happy. Love cayenne. Love drying them out. Love using them in everything I cook. I love to add the spice. I'm really happy the cayenne's doing well. Alright, these are the last few that I'm going to transplant for now. So taking a few out of the ones that were just getting too big. And I have set some dirt down and wet it ahead of time. You can see they're all root bound. And then after I put my little foundation of pre-soaked dirt, I'm going to fill these in. I'm going to fill them in, give them a good soaking, get them in the tent. And I'll leave these empty for now. So hopefully within a week or 2, everything's going out. I just want the real big ones in the tent, longer light, more room for growth. Alright, and finally I've rearranged some of the plants here, all the cayennes, all the other big ones that are out here. They're growing, and they have more room. They're not going to be, hitting the light bulbs in the other one. Some of the basils that I had reseeded are on a grow mat to hopefully help them speed it up and do better. And I moved some of my little tomato cuttings around, all the ones from last year, which hopefully some make it outside and do well. Like I said, it's just an experiment, and I'll start. I got to do some cleaning up on my insanity of succulents here. I even had, I believe this is a pothos that's coming up. I had some rooting pretty good in here. So a couple that I need to get in some dirt. So hopefully they keep going. Little plants that every time something breaks off, I put it into a little cup with some dirt. See if it'll root. See if it'll make it. That's the fun. Just keep trying to keep it going. So that's it. That's it for the cleanup. That's it for the update for this week for the plants. And hopefully next week or the week after, I'll be getting outside, showing you what's going on out there. It's been rainy this weekend, so not much going on. All right, till next time.